Right now at the Weather Network, tracking some breezy weather. The winds are out of the west-southwest at about 30 kilometers an hour. That gives us a wind chill, blows away the clouds, blows away your troubles, perhaps. No more shoveling today. How'd you make out yesterday? Doesn't it feel great to be part of Canada, to be getting that blast of snowy weather? We've had an ice storm this year. We've had a couple of cold snaps. No, I'm not making light of the weather. I was one of those that lost power for 5 lovely days around and over Christmas. Having said that, the jet stream's way to the south. It's very strong, as is often the case in winter. Those upper level winds can sometimes get to about 500 kilometers an hour, and some sections of the jet stream are just that right now. And you can bet that airlines are looking at that in terms of planning routes. You want to catch that jet stream and flow with it as much as possible. Capitalize on those winds, save money on fuel. All right, what else is going on? High pressure Arctic air to the west, setting records. In fact, we set a record this morning in Hamilton. The air temperature was down to minus 19, and many parts of southern Ontario have felt like minus 19 with wind chills today, isolated flurries. Nothing too serious, though. Certainly roads are in much better shape. And if you're heading downtown this evening, lucky you if you're going to the Elton John, Sir Elton concert at the ACC tonight. Generally speaking, we're looking at some variable skies, but quiet weather overall. And I want to show you the winds, too. There's the legend. You'll see the winds are picking up over open stretches, as is typical. And with this wind across largely open Lake Ontario, whiteouts, Prince Edward County, and up through the 401, Kingston, Napanee. If you're traveling to Ottawa this weekend, maybe going to Winterlude, keep that in mind. Here's a look at long-range temperatures, and we should be minus 2 for daytime highs, as warm as we get, minus 6 with some snow Sunday morning. And cold air in the west, Arctic outflow. Look at Victoria and Vancouver this morning. Science behind the weather today, Arctic outflow. Just massive lineups here trying to merge onto the 401, and yes, that is someone shoveling out the on-ramp, and lots to plow. And where do we find ourselves so far this winter? Yes, we're having a good old-fashioned winter. In fact, if you take a look at the country today, I'd say there's almost no one that's seeing a temperature of 0 or above. Even west coast of Vancouver Island is colder today. As far as snow is concerned, Great Lakes, 83 centimeters so far this season. More than double. There's 180 for Ottawa, Windsor, Chicago, and off to St. John's, and a big winter along with Charlottetown. And the proximity, of course, to the sea, to the ocean, has a lot to do with that. Speaking of the sea, I'm going to take you overseas to a popular seaside destination in just a second. The sea, the Great Lakes, both have a big bearing, as far as topography is concerned, on our weather. And as we look at a southwest wind, breezy weather, wind chills tomorrow, like today. And because Lake Ontario is largely unfrozen, lake effect snow. Lake effect snow for Prince Edward County, Picton, for Wellington, for Bloomfield. Beautiful spots. Like going there in the summer. Sandbanks, well, that'd be windswept tomorrow. And up through Kingston. If you're traveling the 401 going to Ottawa for Winterlude, keep that in mind. There could be some whiteouts in that area. Temperatures this evening, and then we'll compare that to tomorrow for afternoon highs. Yeah, there's not a lot of change. We are in for a cold stretch. Normals at this time of year are minus 2, but our first line, daytime highs, stay cold. Coming up, force of nature, seaside destination of Brighton. I want to show you what's been going on in England because of the snowfall. How much snow fell? We're still bragging about it, aren't we? Yes, we can hold our heads high. We haven't had as much as Ottawa or Halifax. They're at about 1.5 meters, more or less. We're still under 1 meter of snow so far this year, but still. 14 centimeters, 0.9 at Pearson yesterday, a record 20 downtown. It was an impressive amount of snow. It really clogged roads. That was certainly the big nuisance aspect of this. Ski Hills, very happy. Skiers and snowboarders, very happy. Beautiful big snowbanks. Looks gorgeous around our garden, doesn't it? Sure does. Southwest winds, though, today. Bit of a breeze, wind chill, and also some whiteouts. So if you are traveling the 401 east, if you're heading to Winterlude, second weekend of the celebration in Ottawa, expect some snow and possibly some whiteout conditions. This evening, similar temperatures to what we've seen this afternoon, minus 9 through about minus 12, feeling close to 10 degrees colder. Colder wind chills still in southwestern Ontario. Hamilton not in the warning, minus 10 this evening, and Kasha's checking in with the snow clearing crews there. And thanks, Kasha. Well, coming up, high pressure and cold for Friday. Little snow late Saturday into Sunday. A lot of cold air across Canada. Today, a Texas low that has still got some people shivering in the cold in the U.S. Power outages there. big snow banks in Atlantic Canada. You think we've had a lot of snow. Well, Halifax and Ottawa have both had almost double the amount of snow that we've had. In fact, Ottawa's had more than double what we've had, and Charlottetown way more than double. So it's always somewhere getting worse weather. That's my point. And as we take a look at current temperatures across the country, you know, Dallas was tied with us just a little while ago. Dallas. Now they've warmed up to -4. Yeah, that's pretty darn cold. Orlando 16, considering they were a record 31 degrees yesterday. Coldest day of the week for them. Tofino's above 0. We almost had a full set. Everybody 0 or below. Tofino, that's the spoiler. That's the hot spot in Canada today. As we look at the current situation, the storm system that blasted us yesterday with record snowfall for Pearson, it was about 15 centimeters. It's rocketed through Newfoundland. Off it goes. Jet streams to our south. That's the storm track. It's pretty quiet for now. We are going to get a little snow this weekend, but the main story right now, current temperatures, current wind chills close to -20, as you see that in blue. And there are wind chill warnings for areas Lake Erie through Windsor that will be -30. That's how they'll feel tonight. Southwest winds, and that's going to bring some whiteout conditions at times to the east end of Lake Ontario. But overall, we're quiet, Chrissy, and we're cold for Toronto going into the weekend. We had problems all through the north end of Toronto and, of course, on the east side of the city as well. Chrissy's coming up with a look at today's commute. We had footage, and we've still got it, of commuters out of their cars on the on-ramps trying to dig out tracks in the banks that have been built up by snowplows. Meanwhile, 6 lanes of traffic are going by. But those Good Samaritans, they weren't going by quickly, of course. Good Samaritans try to help clear the clogged roads and clogged traffic. I mean, when you see this kind of snowfall, 14 centimeters, record 15 for Pearson, up to 25 downtown, maybe it doesn't sound like a lot by Canadian standards. But when you remember that 1/4 of Canada's population lives in the Golden Horseshoe area alone, and that was a big snowfall for this area, including the city of Toronto, that starts to put it into some perspective, doesn't it? Well, if you're traveling the 401 east of Toronto, heading out through Brockville and Kingston, if you're heading up to Ottawa for Winterlute's second weekend, keep in mind that there is going to be some lake effect snow there. There are some dreadful whiteouts that take shape here. As an ex-Montrealer driving that section, I certainly know that. Kasha, how are the crews doing today?
Inside.
Oh, daytime highs, Kasha, they're going to stay cold. Look, we warm up to -6 on Sunday with some snow through the morning. Chrissy's coming up with a look at today's commute. Keep the gloves on. It makes it sound rather combative, doesn't it? Fight winter. Fight it with everything you've got, or embrace it. You know, I haven't been skiing yet this year, but skating is my regular Friday night thing. Looking forward to tomorrow night. It's going to be as cold as it is right now, -8 in Toronto. But just before we complain too loudly, let's just see who else is sharing in this cold spell. Just about all of Canada. St. John's is -14. We're normally -2 this time of year. They're normally warmer than that. It's cold. We have been sub-zero all the way to the west coast of the west coast, western Vancouver Island. Tofino, you've spoiled it for me. You've popped up to +2. Houston, Dallas, -4. Very cold in the U.S. South. The jet streams well to the south. That's the dividing line, roughly speaking, for cold and warmer air. And a lot of cold air has invaded North America. This is one of the coldest, most widespread cold spells that we have had this winter. And of course, winter has some weeks to go yet. It's early February. The Olympics are underway as far as the competition. Officially underway, of course, tomorrow with the opening ceremonies. Looking here at home, it's going to be a good weekend to be indoors watching your favorite event. Current temperatures -8 to -12. There's a wind chill. The wind chills will be in the -30 range down towards Windsor and along the Lake Erie shoreline. And you can see here with our wind movie that it's pretty gusty out of the southwest. That'll bring some whiteouts, Chrissy, to the 401 again. But after yesterday's big snow, the snow accumulations will be out towards Kingston and Napanee.
And let's face it, everyone's had a lot of practice driving in it this year, Suzanne. It's been a real mess, but today...
But I know we're looking at the snowbanks here, and they have been impressive And it's going to be a great weekend for skiing, for snowboarding. I didn't make it out to go tobogganing last night, but there's still time. And hi to Chrissy's mom. Chrissy, what's your mom's name?
Sherry.
Sherry. Hi, Sherry. We were talking about skating a moment ago, and I have a kindred spirit in the skating department. And maybe you're thinking, oh, yeah, skating. That's a good time to do that. It certainly is. We've got many weeks of winter left, my friends. Looking at the snow here, close to 30 on the escarpment, 20 downtown, 30 for Downsview, a record 14.9 for Pearson, and more snow coming to the northeast end of Lake Ontario through Friday through Saturday morning. The reason for this, southwest winds coming across the Great Lakes. Westerlies for Georgian Bay. Yeah, we'll get a bit more snow up around Perry Sound. If you're heading north, go to the cottage, go to check on the roof maybe. A little bit more fresh snow falling, and that could slick up the roads for your commute. The commute this evening, much better. Chrissy will be along with your latest road conditions in a moment. -10, feeling close to -20. Same story for Hamilton. All clear. Kasha for now, but crews have been very busy. This time last week, I was just finishing a full day snorkeling excursion in Roatan. Speaking of vacations. Okay, I'm back. -8 for Oakville and Toronto and Oshawa Friday, -12 for Orangeville. Going into a bit of a chilly weekend with some snow flurries late Saturday to Sunday morning, but get out and enjoy. Clear, when I went towards the city from Oakville here, the QEW was clear eastbound, but still pretty slippery, slick, and, tough drive. Chrissy had an awful drive home yesterday back to the Niagara region. If you're driving through eastern Ontario, there's some scattered flurries today coming off the Great Lakes with these west-southwest winds. They're causing a wind chill, and they'll produce some heavier squalls with possibly some whiteouts if you're Napanee, Kingston, Brockville, or Ottawa bound this weekend. Current temperatures close to -10 on average, feeling colder with the wind. And if you're heading out for some skating this evening or fun stuff like that, you can go to the Samuel Smith Park in Etobicoke. Let's see, you could go Hamilton down to the waterfront, which is where we find our Kasha. Not lacing up her skates, but hopefully talking more about leisure stuff now as opposed to the labor with winter. Come on, it is a wonderful season. Thanks, Kasha. Pier 8, by the way, is one of the great places, Hamilton waterfront. You can skate till 11 at night. -8 tomorrow for us in Toronto. Similar temperature in Hamilton, a mix of sun and clouds. Late Saturday into Sunday, we'll get some snow. The temperature trend is a little on the cold side. Those are our daytime highs for the next week. No big snowstorms. Little snow Saturday night. Couple or so centimeters there. Coming up, traffic as we continue with the live commute.
This weather
Right now, Arctic air has Canada in its firm grip from coast to coast. Keep the gloves on and the heavy parka and the thick boots, and you know the whole story, right? I was just checking my trunk the other day to make sure I had everything in there, just in case. Came out with light gloves the other day, and once you've scraped off your car, your hands are wet, your gloves are wet, your hands are cold. So you need to be prepared. Be prepared for a little bit more snow. How about that? On top of what we had yesterday. The radar's picking up these bands. Well, you can see some of that organization, can't you? The striation there as the winds come in out of the west-southwest. Look at that. Snow, lake effect snow, a clear picture. The cold air that's with us. It has warmed up, believe it or not, from the -20s in the prairies yesterday to these frigid temperatures. Tofino, just barely above zero. The only place really in Canada today, the west coast of Vancouver Island. Dallas is sub-zero. The zero line runs well south of Toronto and Ottawa and Montreal. And the jet stream, the storm track, well, it's to the south as well. So although we're getting a little snow, it's wind-driven as opposed to storm-driven. -8, feeling like -17 in Toronto, and similar conditions in Hamilton. And the wind arrows here and the wind legend, you can see that the winds are going to pick up tomorrow across Lake Ontario, which brings some lake effect snow, particularly east of Oshawa, Cobourg, particularly Prince Edward County and Kingston, and that could be some whiteouts along the 401. Chrissy, the long-range trend is cold. I know you were asking when the next snow is coming. She's always looking out for you. It's Saturday night into Sunday, and that'll be a few centimeters. But the commute, weather-wise at least, looks far better. We love it when you share your weather with us, and you can be very creative. Here, we're going to take a look at photos from across the country. We'll start with Allison Coverts. How's winter treating you so far? Lots of snow. And then we've got this, bit of an optical illusion until you realize what you're looking at. Parking meter in Halifax, completely ice covered this year. Glorious snowfall. Well, there was a lot of grumbling, not so much talk about maybe the glory of the snowfall in Toronto yesterday. Biggest city in Canada got blasted with record snowfall. It was anywhere from 15 to 25 centimeters of snow. The 401, there were people actually shoveling some of the on-ramps onto the 401 expressway to try to clear banks and to let the congestion go through. This is downtown Toronto during rush hour. Out on a bike, the streetcars running. That's from Pearl Comacho. Big snowbanks, and this came from one of our viewers. Yeah, massive snowbanks, and that's from Countess Annabelle. And in Bruce County, trying to get school buses through a bank like this. There's the top of it, and there is the bottom of it. Bit of an optical illusion as you go up and down. Big snowfall and a lot of concerns too about roofs. This shot came to us from Dave Strutt, clear, and that can be a dangerous business too. Often, you know, it's suggested that you contact a professional company to try to clear your roof. Now, there is the aspect, of course, of having fun with the snow, and we've got to embrace winter. It's certainly with us for another good month or two. Caroline, Alberta, a recent shot with the sun going down from Jackie DeBrun and from the Huffington Post. I really wanted to share this one with you. CP train blasting through the Selkirk Mountains. That is an iconic Canada shot right there. And hey, blowing snow, as a matter of fact. Lake effect snow. Did you enjoy that look at all of your photos? We love it when you share your weather with us, when you tell us about your weather. Yeah, kind of old school, show and tell. But instead it's uploading at our website and sharing on social media as well. Snowfall, and I want you to see what's happening all across the Great Lakes. We've got little bands of light lake effect snow up by Parry Sound. Same southwest wind that's driving our wind chills today. And speaking of drivers, well, over towards Trenton, low visibility. This band is making its way on shore. The radar's not picking it up beautifully, but it's there, and visibility is down to about 1 kilometer now, with 1 centimeter or 2 on the ground. So some slick road conditions if you happen to be traveling to Ottawa tonight to get a jump start on Winterlude weekend too there. Lots of cold air across Canada, all the way south to Texas. The jet stream or storm track is also well to the south, and that's keeping storms away for now. We'll get a little snow Saturday night into Sunday. I know Chrissy's real excited about that. Couple to 5 centimeters. That's coming up Saturday overnight. Right now, -9, -11, Barrie, Newmarket, Sharon, Toronto, Hamilton, St. Catharines, -8. Southwest winds again. That's the thing that we're watching. You see by the legend here, it's picking up Friday. So at times we'll have very low visibility east of the Great Lakes, and Chrissy, that includes sections of the 401 east of the GTA.
Which
Seeing some snow east of the GTA today, and it may not look like much on the radar, but we are starting to see, if not full-blown whiteouts, certainly greatly reduced visibility. And of course, with nighttime, makes it that much trickier on the eyes, a little harder on the eyes. Great to see you as we continue our post-storm coverage, looking at southwest winds. They're not warming us up, and with Lake Ontario being largely unfrozen, we are seeing some pockets of snow across Prince Edward County. Kingston, if you're heading east to Montreal to visit the kids at Queens this weekend, or heading up to Winterlude, Ottawa, be prepared for some of that. And up around Parry Sound and McTier and up towards Killarney and down to the southwest, we've got some snow. Snowfall through Saturday morning, and then the winds will start to switch up a bit. 5 centimeters or so, up to 15 in a few pockets, certainly. And for southern Ontario, Golden Horseshoe area, it's really just the cleanup. We have had tremendous amounts of snow, close to a foot, close to 30 centimeters yesterday. It was a record for Pearson. Kasha, people talking about, oh, a lot of snow. Hey, this is normal in Canada in winter. We just got a lot of it in a short period of time. And now it's a great time like you to get out and play. Back to you. Yeah, no warm temperatures, -10 tonight. Well, I suppose compared to a -20, that's a warm up, but it will feel closer to -20 this evening if you're down at the Hamilton waterfront. Light, scattered, beautiful, romantic looking flurries in many spots around the Golden Horseshoe, that lake effect east of the GTA, and some snow for us late Saturday, Sunday morning. Or has it? Keep the gloves on, keep all the winter layers handy. Yeah, we sure got ours, didn't we? Let's give Toronto a big snowfall, the atmosphere said. And lo and behold, we got blasted with 20, 25 centimeters of snow. Pearson had closer to 15. It was a record. And we're still seeing snow today. And believe it or not, we've got whiteouts in southern Ontario. Thanks for joining us. Suzanne Leonard with the team. Chrissy's coming up in a moment with your traffic. No word on any closures of the 401 just yet, and I wouldn't anticipate any yet, but we've had some really serious problems just as recently as last week, and whiteouts are starting to settle in the Napanee, Trenton, Kingston corridor. The reason we've got southwest winds. Southwest winds picking up some additional moisture here and there. Of course, Lake Ontario is largely unfrozen. Georgian Bay is not, but there are still some whiteouts. Or some flurries, I should say, not whiteouts. Flurries, maybe locally some whiteouts up around Parry Sound. And taking a look at the rest of the country, cold air. I mean, we're in good company here, -9. At least it's not double digits. Ottawa's the same. Montreal's even colder. Halifax is similar. Jet stream's well to the south. Only western Vancouver Island today is above 0. There are no storms to speak of, but we've got these cold temperatures with us currently. Elton John concert tonight. Sir Elton at the ACC. Lucky you if you're heading there. That'll warm you up because the temperatures certainly are not. Look at this. Oh, -3 Thursday. -2 normally, Chrissy, this time of year. So we've got that to look forward to and a little bit more snow Saturday night. February the 6th. All right. It's the first week of February. We made it through almost at the weekend. We've got some snow taking us into the weekend, even some whiteout conditions with lake effect snow, some squalls east of Georgian Bay, but particularly low visibility, likely east of the GTA along the 401. So if you were going to visit your kids at Queens and Kingston this weekend, or going to Montreal or Ottawa for Winterlude, locally heavy snowfall, and the snow began in Trenton some hours ago today. Thanks for joining us. Snowfall, we got a good dump of snow yesterday. 22 centimeters is the average snow for February for the city of Toronto, as far as Pearson record keeping is concerned. And that was a record 15 centimeters yesterday, and 20 for downtown, and closer to 30 for Downsview and the Escarpment. Winter so far. Well, November average for Toronto, and that's what actually fell, 5 centimeters. And there's February at the bottom. So we've already had more than a normal month. We were pretty normal for January and a little below average for December. I think Kasha earlier today checking in with crews in Hamilton. And there's Hamilton overnight, -16, feeling 10 colder. Tomorrow's highs across southern Ontario, a little colder than average, but there's lots of snow that'll stick around with these temperatures. Great weekend for skiing, and late Saturday into Sunday, we've got a little bit of light snow, cold temperature, and it's going to continue to get even a bit more entrenched in the coming days. How cold will it get, and when's the next snow coming? I think 2 key questions here. We'll answer both of those. Great to see you. We're almost at the weekend. Whiteouts today, some snow squalls east of Georgian Bay and Lake Huron, Lake Erie, but particularly Lake Ontario. And with only 30% ice cover on Lake Ontario, the holdout, the least ice cover of all 5 Great Lakes, there's plenty of moisture available. And that's why we're seeing some snow squalls causing very low visibility through Trenton and Napanee, through Kingston. It'll be on and off at times, but it'll continue through tomorrow and Saturday morning. If you're headed to Ottawa for Winterlude, keep that in mind. Evening temperatures coast to coast, a bitterly cold night ahead for all Canadians, and -4 for Vancouver. And you're right, that doesn't happen all that often. And look at Vancouver this morning, -8.5, and Victoria was cold, and those were among the BC and Alberta records. A very cold start. At least the storm tracks well to our south. The low has rocketed off to the east. We had plenty of snow. It was a wreck. Halifax has had more than we have. And Charlottetown has had, I think, about 2 meters of snow now. We're not yet at 1 meter, but we certainly have had a very strong, old-fashioned winter. And stronger southwest winds. That's what I want to show you here. That's why our wind chills are going to feel close to -20 tomorrow. And you can see by our wind scale that the winds are strongest across Lake Ontario and some of those areas towards Kingston and Prince Edward County. So the snow squalls there, and the wind chills tonight, -17. West-southwest wind at 25. It'll feel closer to -27. Okay, the cold air. How cold is it going to get? Thought you might want to know that. Well, the temperature plunge continues. The prairies, no real reprieve. Today, believe it or not, was a warmer day with some of those temperatures you saw a moment ago. We go up slightly on the weekend to -8 and -6. Looks like we'll get back to seasonal in the long-range forecast, but a chilly day for Friday. There's your wind chill. And Saturday night to Sunday morning, a little snow. More than a little, a whole lot of stormy weather.